What's up, guys? Welcome to Sunday Morning Tailgate, presented to you by the Variety Sports Network. Jordan, Caleb, absolute pleasure to be with you on this football Sunday. Jordan, how you feeling this morning, man?
Feeling good this morning. Happy to be coming out of Cincinnati area, so a lot of big things going on over here.
Caleb, one of my hosts on the Saturday Showdown. I see that Dolphins jersey, man. How you feeling this morning?
Pretty good. Another good day for football. Love how our season started out so far.
Got it right off the top. The Dolphins have been absolutely kick-ass. Just your guys' offense. Your defense isn't great, but the offense is so good you never even think about the defense, really. Guys, this is a Sunday morning tailgate, so I wanted to start off something we're going to probably try to do every week, a little Sunday morning cheers. So, guys, to you, cheers. Let's have a great show. Oh, that feels good in the morning. Guys, let's get right into it. We got a really big week. We're coming off a really big week last week. What from week 3 really stood out to you, Caleb, from the NFL?
I think when you look at it, just the sheer number of points from a Dolphins perspective, I kind of expected us to come back home and win, but not with that magnitude of putting up 70 points. That really shocked me, honestly.
Jordan, what from week 3 caught your eye? Anything specific?
Really how bad the Bears are. You look at their offseason and the trades that they made for more firepower and a little extra protection up front for Justin Fields, and nothing has panned out. We saw some flashes in the preseason, some 70-yard one play touchdowns, and everybody kind of got on the hype train, and it hasn't really panned out.
That's a great point. Let me ask you guys this: Would you be for or against benching Justin Fields right now? Caleb, let's start with you.
I think you might give him another week. I think this week against the Broncos, it has not looked great either. It would be a good get-right game for him to really, if there's any chance of riding the ship per se, this would be the game to do it. I know might be a struggle because I think they said Chase Claypool, one of their receivers that they brought in, is inactive today. I think that's going to be taking away a weapon from him. So I would give him one more week maybe to see if they can get right in this game. But after that, you've got to really start thinking, is he really the long-term guy for this organization?
Jordan, same question to you. Fields, are you ready to move on? You think they give him another week or two?
I think if you look at it from a coaching perspective, he wasn't drafted regime. So I think if you're not going to start him long term, bench him or start to shop him on the market and see what you can recover. Draft pick wise, it's time to start thinking about the future. They did spend some money up front in free agency, but it's not panning out. And if this, if the coaching staff isn't in love with it and all body language, if you kind of watch their after press conferences, everything leans towards he's not their guy. So it's time to bench him. Don't hurt him. Don't hurt his trade value by keeping him out there with pitiful performances. Go get the maximum value and bench him.
Gotcha. Another side note for you guys. Thoughts on the Toy Story game over in London? How's that been received by you two guys? Jordan, you were talking about it a little bit earlier while we were texting. What's your thoughts on the Toy Story vibe that they're going with in this London game?
I love it. Nickelodeon kind of started this for the Super Bowl, I believe, 2 years ago with their version of it on a Paramount network, and seeing Disney kind of step up, the biggest owner in sports with ESPN and all their other networks. The younger generation getting to learn the game, because it's not just the game, it's explaining it. Every time they put the ball down, the commentators are like, all right, this is first down. Team's got 10 yards to get it moved to a new chain. And the graphics kind of keep it involved for the youth, with it being Toy Story. I mean, it's one of the most recognizable kids franchises ever. Over $1 billion about a movie since the second one. So I love it. Get the kids, get the youth. get the father and son vibe, father and daughter vibe down to where it's not just dad ignoring the kids on a couch. I like the family dynamic.
Caleb, how you feeling about Toy Story, man?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, another thing that, just to kind of agree with what Jordan was saying, like during like the quote unquote commercial breaks, I like how they have like they're calling it trivia, but it's basic trivia that is really helping learn the game as well. Like I know one of them I caught was how many total players are on offense or on the field during play? 11 on defense, and offense, so 22. So it helps kind of bring that basic knowledge of the game to kids if you're trying to kind of get them into the sport.
Yeah, no, I think all these projects that the NFL has gone to try to get younger viewers and kids interested in the game have been really smart. I hope they continue and maybe even expand a little bit into more avenues. Guys, let's jump ahead. Week 3, last week, we were just talking about it a little bit. I want your guys' top 5 teams in the NFL right now. You can start at 1 and go to 5. Jordan, who are your top 5 teams in the NFL right now?
Top 5 in my book. I mean, 1, I gotta give it to you guys. I gotta give it to Miami. They are rocking on all cylinders. I did think it was a little bit of run up on the score because of the head coach of Miami is passed with the Denver organization and being rejected by him several times.
Ball boy.
From ball boy on up, but his dream job was always to go back to Denver. But kind of back to your question, but yeah, definitely Miami. I think is number 1. I think number 2 is Kansas City. I believe they're back on the right track. 3, you got to look at Detroit and what they're doing. They're making a lot of noise. It's not always flashy, it's not always great, but they are kind of a meat and potatoes. You know what they're doing every Sunday. It's my game versus your game, and I love seeing it. I think their talent's going to take them far. But I'm almost at number 3. 4 and 5, that's a big question mark. There's a lot of teams that look strong in the beginning and maybe kind of fizzling out. But if I truly had to pick, I can't disrespect Baltimore. Their performance was kind of lackluster against the Colts, but Gardner Minshew is not bad either. So I think they'll get right, but they have a lot of injuries as well in the secondary up front. Losing their number 1 running back never helps. But 5, I would go with your team. I think the Cleveland Browns are making a lot of noise. I think that defense is there to make a lot of statements. That pass rush being led by another Myles Garrett up front, and the things they've kind of built and the culture they built in the backfield. Losing Nick Chubb was a black eye, but I think, Kareem Hunt is there with experience, knows the playbook, knows organization. He's going to plug in just fine when he gets the rust off. And the receivers and tight ends they have, they've done a lot of good work. Those would be my top 5.
You know who you forgot? San Fran.
I like San Fran, but it's, you look without Brock Purdy, if anything happened to their quarterback situation, I think they kind of be back in that playoff spot scenario where they were last year in the championship game.
Okay,
so
that's fair. Caleb, go ahead and give us your power 5.
Yeah, so number 1, I'm going with the Dolphins. Just like Jordan said, we're really on all cylinders right now. And one thing that amazes me is you think about all that offense we had last week. That was also without Jalen Waddle, who is back this week. Number 2, I'm going to throw up the Eagles. They haven't been, spectacular this year, but they've managed to get those wins and find a way to grind out those games. Mm-hmm. You've got to throw in the Chiefs at 3. With Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, you just can't count those guys out. Number 4, I think I'm going to put up in there San Francisco. They're really clicking right now. McCaffrey, his second season where he's been able to really get into that playbook, understand that fully with a full offseason in that organization. And then number 5, I think you've got to put the Detroit Lions up there. They've just had an amazing season so far, what they've been able to do, and turn that franchise around. Coming in week 1 and getting the win in Kansas City was big for them. And, Dan Campbell's got something brewing in Detroit right now.
For sure. My power 5, I'm actually going to go with the 49ers at 1. I think in terms of offense and defense, they are one of the most complete teams in the NFL right now. So many weapons on offense, and then the defense is just Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. Those guys are two of the best players at their position on any given week. Number two, the Dolphins. It's hard to deny that offense right now. Number three for me is the Eagles. They're not playing their best football, but they're playing a winning brand of football every week, and I think that's important. Number four, I got the Chiefs. I wouldn't say they're as dominant as they were before. Last week, a really nice performance from them against a bad opponent. And then number five, I think Detroit deserves to be in here. Detroit grinds you out, like you said, Jordan, meat and potatoes, little smash mouth football. David Montgomery is playing the best football of his career. Jared Goff still can sling it. I mean, any way you look at it, the guy can throw the ball. Amon St. Brown, hell of a receiver. They get back Jamison Williams for a deep threat. Let's give some credit to their rookie tight end, Sam Laporta. That kid is really talented. He gets open. He catches the ball. He's got a little bit of Gronk in him, I think, in terms of his ability. I'm not, you can't really just call anybody Gronk, but I think he has shades of Gronk with his ability to get downfield and make big plays. I think the Lions are a really good team. To me, they are the favorite right now to win the NFC North. I know people haven't given up on the Vikings, but I just don't see it right now. Anything else from week 3 you guys think we should touch on before we move on?
Other than how bad the Broncos are too, but I just, that's still kind of shocking. Just kind of a fair situation. They spent a lot of time kind of getting pieces around Russell Wilson, and I don't think the head coach has the heart in it like he used to. I could be wrong, but it just looks like a lot of miscommunication on all levels over there.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Caleb, anything you want to touch on before we move on?
For me, really a good question. You really think about looking at the Jets. At what point do you say the Zach Wilson experience is over? He didn't work out before. You bring in Rodgers, to lead that team. He goes down week 1 through the other 2 weeks here. He hasn't really shown that he's made any improvement. I know they went out and signed Trevor Siemian. Like, at what point do you just say he can't do any worse at this point? Like, you got to give your team the best chance to win with the talent they went out and brought in for Rodgers. You got to think, I think I saw something come out. There's been some, I guess, divided locker room with guys on the defense were like, well, if I was playing that bad, I would get benched. So why is Zach Wilson not getting benched? I get they're wanting to try to stay with their guy, but you've got so much talent on that team and it's early in the season. Why not try to make a push even though you lost Rodgers?
Yeah, no, that's good point. Very similar situation in terms of quarterback to some of these other teams we mentioned earlier. Looks like we got David joining in with us. Let me bring David in. David, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, guys. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I was just catching up on when you guys were doing the power rankings, and I was like, oh, hey, the show's on. I'm going to come by and say hi.
Hey, thanks for dropping in. Give us your top 5 teams real quick.
Oh, absolutely. So first off, I'm a basketball guy, so if anybody's watched my show, so some of these might sound ludicrous, but I think number 1 right now, I've got the San Francisco 49ers. I think that's who I'm starting out with. I mean, they just look like the most complete team out there, in my opinion. The number 2, it's kind of more of a gut instinct, but I still feel like the Chiefs are the team to beat in the AFC. So I've still got them up there. I'd say number 3 is the Eagles, in my opinion. Really good team. It kills me as a Cowboys fan to say that. But I think the Cowboys are a really quality, or not the Cowboys, the Eagles are a really quality team. Number 4 is where I'm having some of my bigger debates. I had Dallas kind of mentally as my number 4 last week, but that loss to the Cardinals just really was it's not something what you wanted to necessarily see. But I would probably give it to the Dolphins right now as my number 4 team. Super explosive. I'm so excited to watch the Bills play the Dolphins today. That's going to be a great game. And then I think I think I would give it to the Cowboys right now and just call last week kind of a fluke. That defense is still incredible, and I think you had the best defensive player in the NFL at Michael Parsons. So,
all right, interesting. For NBA fans out there, Drew Holiday is getting traded to the Celtics. Just an FYI. That's an interesting move. David, great top five. I think you're pretty close. I do think the Cowboys. I need to see them bounce back this week.
I would agree.
To have them in the top five, but I think the Lions deserve that fifth spot. But I understand where you're coming at from a Cowboys perspective. Guys, let's jump ahead. The full injury report obviously isn't out yet. We know a couple inactives today. Deshaun Watson not going for my Browns. Chase Claypool out for the Bears. What injury besides obviously Nick Chubb and Aaron Rodgers do you think hurts their team the most so far? Caleb, we'll start with you.
Yeah, when you look at just injuries around the league, it's interesting to think about, like, at the beginning of the season, how many guys have went down so far. This week, you look at it, I know they said he's not going to play today. I think you got to look at maybe the Raiders with Garoppolo being out. They've announced they're starting rookie Aiden O'Connell out of Purdue. So that would be interesting to see. Does he come out and be able to perform, spread the ball around, and get it to the playmakers like Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, things like that? See how he does that. Even though Garoppolo may not be the best quarterback in the league, he's still a good game manager and can distribute the ball. I think it's more on play calling than actual him or any of this offense.
Okay, yeah, no, I like that. David, any injuries really stick out to you this week?
Yeah, so I'll isolate this one to this week. Deshaun Watson being out for the Browns is going to be a killer. I got him on my fantasy team, and I'm having to start Matthew Stafford this week, so it's killing me personally. But where do the Browns? How deep are they really going to be at quarterback? It's going to be kind of you've got a dynamic quarterback who could do a lot of things for you. So it's going to be a little frustrating this week for the Browns. So I think that might be one of the biggest injuries that we see this week, or outs that we see this week.
It's devastating. DTR from UCLA coming in to make his first start as a rookie is going to be really interesting. It's unfortunate that this is all happening the week of Baltimore, just a massive game in the division. Quick shout out, Drew Garrison. He's really, really big on social media. Couple of spots on Pat McAfee's show. Thanks for chiming in, man. Jordan, did he give you that hat?
He most certainly did. Yeah, he hooked me up.
All right. Yep. Shout out to Drew. Thank you for the support. Jordan, any injuries stick out to you this week that we haven't touched on yet?
A few of them. You look at Vita Vea being out for Tampa Bay. I think that hurt immensely. You look at the Bills missing Jordan Poyer as safety, but I know DeMar Hamlin is supposed to be active today, but I know he's on pitch count coming back since his incident in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Keep going. You're good.
You look at the Titans, wide receiver Burke is out. That is a big plus for the Cincinnati secondary that's kind of been struggling to get things going on the communication level. And a right guard is out, along with their left tackle who's given up 6 sacks already this season. So look for the Bengals to bounce back big defensively.
I know we touched on injuries. I'm going to say I'm going to go the opposite way. Caleb, you did mention this earlier. I think David Carr being in today is a massive improvement for the Saints. They
look really uneasy about him.
Last week, quarterback play was a major issue in that loss. I think this week, getting Carr back is going to help the Saints. I got them winning today. I think that's going to be one of the bigger comeback players for the week. Just injuries, guys. Injuries is just the worst part of football. We're missing a lot of good players. Rodgers, Chubb. Now we're missing Watson this week. We're missing a couple other guys. Vita Vea, a great defensive tackle down in Tampa Bay. A lot of injuries piling up as the season goes along. David, let's talk. Diggs, losing Diggs for the season. One of the best corners in the league. What are you guys doing to supplement his loss as a secondary?
So the good news is that we're relatively got pieces to replace, but you can't replace Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's an excellent ball hawk. He's got everything that you need, but you do have Dallas went out and found guys to supplement that secondary in different areas. That's why they're one of the best turnover teams in the NFL. So it's kind of like right now making it secondary by committee. I'd have to look at the roster and really get into Mike McCarthy's head to really jump into that. But right now, it's kind of you're just hoping that somebody else can step up and be a guy. You got Gilmore, a few other guys out there who can get the job done, but you can't replace a ball hawk like Stephon Diggs. So I think we're going to see like the more experienced corners and or least experienced corners kind of get picked on in offensive schemes by other teams who are, competent in passing. I'm not saying the Pats are going to do that today. Mac Brown's not exactly or Mac Jones isn't exactly the guy that I think would pick apart a defense, but other teams are more than capable at the wide receiver spot later on in the season to find some, holes in the Dallas defense.
For sure. Caleb, you guys get Jalen Waddle back this week. I mean, probably the most dynamic, not, talent, all that kind of thing is a little bit different, but the most dynamic duo probably in the league at receiver back this week. Do you expect Jalen Waddle to come back full force this week?
I think so. I think it's good having him back because you just add another wrinkle to that Mike McDaniel offense that is already so explosive to begin with. I saw a stat this week that says on average NFL teams run some type of motion or shift 53% of the time. Well, Miami runs some type of motion or shift 73% of the time.
It's insane trying to watch people guard you guys.
I think it's just amazing to me, like how he comes in from an offensive and analytical perspective of just being able to call these plays and really dive into, what makes an offense go. And like it's another thing, you can't coach speed. We've got so much speed on offense. That's one of those things that is an intangible that you can't coach that. And it's like, how do you guard basically a track roster against, some of these defenses in the league?
Yeah, well said. Well said. Guys, let's move ahead. Let's get into week 4. What is your guys' game of the week this week? Caleb, let's start with you so we can get that one out of the way. Game of the week this week.
No way, Caleb's got the game of the week. That's the one that's going to be high profile right there, isn't it?
Yeah. let's not use the same game. Let's all pick a different game. But Caleb, go ahead and tell us why your guys' game is the game of the week.
I think it's just because it's really going to cement, for us, who's going to take that division. I really think if we can go into Buffalo, get that win, we're easily at the top of the division as far as the East, but also at the top of the AFC right now. I like the fact that we get to go to Buffalo in October and not in December when it's snowing, and they have to come to Miami in December. That's a game last year. I really thought we were in it late in the season until it started snowing, and that's when things really changed. That they're more used to that. So I like the flip of we go there early in the season and then get them at home. But I really think this is a big game for just the AFC and the East, as if we go up 4-0, we're top of the division and remain undefeated in the AFC.
I can't wait to watch that game. Jordan, what is your game of the day?
My game of the day, I got to be a little bit biased. We got to see if Joe Burrow is really healthy. Can he withstand the Titans? Is it the offense clicking? And what will that do to the AFC as a whole if he comes out as a whole different person? That's my game of the week. I think a lot of eyes are going to be in Tennessee to see the health of Joe Burrow and if the Bengals can get it together with no offseason, no preseason, if the offensive line, if those signings, if Brown can step up and be the tackle that we signed him to be, and that defense can really step up and bounce on that Monday night performance with a lot of sacks. So that's my game of the week.
David, game of the week for you this week.
So I know for people who may have watched my show on the Hoop Southbound show, I love watching terrible, disgusting. I'm a sick human being. All right. So like my game of the week, I'm going in a complete opposite and horrible direction. I'm going the Bears versus the Broncos. If you just want to watch something absolutely terrible and nightmarish, that is my sick, disgusting pick of the week, of the game of the week right there. Can the Broncos beat the Bears? Can Justin Fields prove to be a competent quarterback? Like that to me is just fascinating. Like, that's where my brain goes early in the season is I like to see how people move things forward. So to me, that is if you want to sit back and watch something horrible and watch a tragedy happen, that's my Greek tragedy of the week, of a game of a week.
All right. So we'll change this segment to car crash of the week for you next time. Absolute car crash incoming today between the Broncos and the Bears. Drew, anytime touchdown for T. Higgins. I'm going to go over on drops, 1.5. I'm going to say over on 1.5 drops today for T. Higgins. That guy's had terrible hands all year, but if you can get him for a good plus on the touchdown, take it while you can. My game of the week, guys. It's got to be the AFC North, Browns versus Baltimore. Both teams coming to the game 2-1. Obviously, the injury to Deshaun Watson makes things a little more interesting, but it's a very important divisional game. Winner of this game sits atop the AFC North in a very crowded division. That's got to be my game of the week. All right, guys, let's jump ahead. Let's get some picks in before we get out of here today. If you're wondering, quick update on the Jacksonville Atlanta game. Jacksonville, there's just under 2 minutes to go. Jacksonville up 23-7 in London. Looks like they're going to hold on to win that one to move to 2-2. Falcons will move to 2-2 also. All right, guys, let's start with the first game of the week. Sorry. Here we go. Ravens versus Browns. Jordan, let's start with you.
Ravens versus Browns. I go 28 Browns, 21 Ravens. So I think Cleveland takes it. And I think the score is going to be a little bit more fun than your typical AFC North battle of just field goals and some late touchdowns. I think both offenses are going to come out shining. They don't have a lot of game film on the new starter for Cleveland. I think that's going to go into his favor. And that running game is going to get clicking. Both Ford and Kareem Hunt look ready, and that offensive line is still one of the top in the league. So that's my pick.
All right, Caleb, Browns, Ravens. What do we got?
Yeah, this is a tough one. You look at it. You got question marks on both sides, like Jordan just mentioned. For rookie quarterback starting for Cleveland, and then on the other side, you haven't really seen anybody step up on that Ravens wide receiver room besides their rookie. So, and not to mention their running back room has been decimated with injuries once again. So, in this one, I'm going to go with the Browns in this one, winning a tight match here. But I think the rookie quarterback comes out and gets it done.
David, go ahead.
So I'm going to go the opposite direction. I think Baltimore took a pretty hard loss last week to the Colts. That was not something easy to swallow. I don't know why you don't run Justin Tucker out there to kick a 60-yard field goal. Just my thoughts last week in that overtime matchup. But at the end of the day, I think the Ravens bounce back this week against a rookie quarterback who's playing in his first NFL game. I like the Ravens 28-21 in this game.
Fair. I'm going to be a little biased here. I'm going to say the Browns. I do believe the Ravens have a really good chance of winning this game. It's hard. It's hard to beat a Baltimore team with a rookie in their first start. It's possible, but I feel like the defense is going to have a touchdown somehow to win this game. So I'm going to go Browns with the win. I don't have a score for you, but I would not be surprised if the Ravens win this one based on just starting a rookie. I think that's going to be a major issue. Let's move on, guys. The big game of the day, Dolphins and Bills. Caleb, let's get it out of the way. Who you got, and why do you have the Dolphins winning the game?
Of course, I've got to go with the Dolphins in this one. I think we come out and just build on that explosive offense we have last week. Like I said, we've got so much speed. We mentioned at the beginning of the show, Buffalo's without one of their defensive leaders with Poyer out. They get DeMar Hamlin back, but how rusty is he going to be coming back playing in his first game of the season? I think that Buffalo offense has struggled a little bit. I know our defense isn't the best, but it can keep us in the game and get things done. So I think if we get a couple defensive stops, maybe a turnover, I think let Mike McDaniel, roll with Waddle and Tyreek and let Tua sling the ball like he has all season.
Yep. David, Bills, Dolphins, what we got?
I am thinking the Bills here. I think this series is going to be split home and home between the two of them. Bills still with one of the best defenses in the NFL. Right now, they're second in the NFL in yards allowed. I think they're more than capable of getting a win at home. I think this one's going to be super, super close. I'm thinking 24, 21 in that game. It could be higher, it could be lower, but that's kind of where my thoughts are at.
Jordan, Bills Dolphins. What we got?
I think it's a must-win for the Bills, but I got to go with Miami. I don't see a lot of flaws in Miami's game right now. They are going to go against a much tougher defense with the Bills, but I'm not sold on the Bills. Big games, they haven't answered a lot of questions throughout the last couple of years. So I don't have a score for you on the top of my head, but I'm definitely going with Miami, and probably one that's going to have a lot of fireworks.
Yeah, no, I like that. I'm gonna go Bills. I'm gonna go 2-2. We're gonna split the picks here. I'm going higher scoring. I'm going 35-31. I think these teams are good enough to score some points. Obviously, I think this is the first game where Miami's defense really gets tested. But here's the deciding factor right here. Does Josh Allen have that stupid, unnecessary turnover that he has in big games like this that costs his team? He's almost well known at this point for having a stupid turnover that swings the tide of the game. So watch out for a Josh Allen turnover to really give the Miami Dolphins momentum late in this game. Next game, the Car Crash Bowl, the 0-3 Broncos, 0-3 Bears. David, since this is your game, man, how do you see this one going down?
So I'm going with the Broncos. I think in this situation, you just take with the quarterback who's got the most on it. Russell Wilson's going through a lot right now. He's getting heat on every which way but loose. And I know Bronco fans are super hungry for a win. This is just a gut instinct, but I'm going with the Broncos in this game. I think they probably have the best case to win this game. That said, who knows how this one's going to go, in all honesty.
Any potential?
Yeah, no, great point. Jordan, who we got?
Car
Crash Bowl.
Outside of my joke about it being a tie, I would honestly say I gotta go to Denver. On paper, Denver's got the better quarterback. Denver has a better defense. You know, Chase Claypool is a healthy scratch, which should be a huge question mark. I think he said some things bad about the organization. I think, with the Bears losing their defensive coordinator that way and all the investigation that he's under, that front office is just a complete mess. I don't see him rebounding this week.
Caleb, what we got?
Yeah, I think like the others said, you got to go with Denver here. The experiencing quarterback with Russell Wilson plus an experienced coach with Sean Payton. I think he comes out and finds a way to get this win. It may be an ugly win, something like I'm thinking maybe 17-14, low scoring, super tight game, maybe decided by a field goal. We'll see how that goes, but not a lot of fireworks in this game, and it could be interesting.
Okay. I'm going Broncos. They were my lock of the week. The Bears really are not good. I think the Broncos do have a couple small spots where they're just better than the Bears. Let's skip ahead, guys. Bengals, Titans. Jordan, lead us off here since this is your team. Do the Bengals get right today?
I think the Bengals do get right today. I don't think it's going to be a high scoring affair, but I think you'll see efficiency from the Bengals offense. The way they used Jamar Chase last week in about every way imaginable, coming out of motions, putting him in the slot, getting him involved in the screen game. I mean, he had a career high 12 receptions. I think you're going to see more of the same this week. I think you're going to see a bounce back from T. Higgins. I just think, the week prior he had 70 yards against Baltimore. He looked really good. I think the contract kind of looming in his head. I think we put that to bed. A lot of positive messages from his mom on Twitter about his mental state. And I think Bengals
it's always nice when your mom does that.
I also think the Bengals defense continues to feast. I think you're going to see a huge game from the Bengals pass rushing squad, especially with Bosai coming back in a more prominent role this week.
Caleb, Bengals, Titans, what we got?
Yeah, I'm going with Bengals this one. I hope you're right about that defense there, Jordan, because I picked their defense up in fantasy this week, so I need a big week there. But I really think there's just a lot going wrong with this Titans team this season. even Derrick Henry struggled, which we haven't even seen in the past. When that team struggles, he still has success, and he's getting, not as efficient as he has been in the past. You're missing Burks and one of your receivers, and this offensive line is struggling. I think like Jordan said, Cincinnati comes out and gets right in this game, and they get the win here.
David, finish us off with this game.
I'm going to echo a lot of the same thoughts. I'm thinking the Bengals get right this week. A lot of it has to do with, the fact that Tennessee is one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL. Having Burks out doesn't help your situation at all. Bengals have had a decent, not great by any means of the word imaginable, passing defense, but they get the focus on the run game primarily this week, and I think that's going to help them get the win on the defensive side of the ball. And then we got a lot of dudes on the Bengals offense who are overdue for some big games.
Yep, I think that's fair. I got the Bengals winning pretty comfortably. Not impressed with the Titans, unless they somehow find a way to get Derrick Henry going. That's the only way this looks. The way the Browns shut them down last week, it was just alarming. If I'm a Titans fan, how bad the offense was. I do think that plays into how good the Browns defense is, but that's a different story. Let's skip ahead to one of the bigger games this week. The Cowboys versus the Patriots. That's one of those primetime slots. David, Cowboys, Patriots. Can the Patriots slow you guys down at all?
I'm not particularly massively worried about the Patriots. I did think that this month we would go 3-1. I didn't think the loss was going to be to the Cardinals of all teams last week. But when I saw the Pats, I think the Pats are capable of making this a ball game. But I think overall, you got a bad taste in your mouth from last week. This defense is more than capable of hanging around with Mac Jones. I think the Cowboys will take the win in this game. I'm not going to call it like a blowout or anything by that means. I think it'll be much closer than what people were thinking. But I think it'll be an interesting game. But I think the Cowboys ultimately win it.
Caleb, Cowboys, Patriots. What we got?
Give me the Cowboys in this one, just like David said. That defense, I think they come back after a rough loss last week. And, I think give me Micah Parsons in that backfield all day, rattling Mac Jones. I haven't seen enough from the Patriots this year to say they're capable of beating a team like Dallas that has been easily the number one defense in the league so far this season.
Jordan, upset alert for the Cowboys?
I'm going to go opposite. I think Ezekiel Elliott gets his revenge game.
Let's go. Let's go.
I think the Patriots, if you really watch them every week, they're getting more and more things on cylinder. Mac Jones had a bigger game last week than he did the week prior. You look at their defense is kind of settling in. They have a lot of new faces from free agency. That's communication, right? And losing Diggs on the other side, I mean, I think that has everything to do with it. He is their signal caller even at corner. I don't think you can really recover from that. Stephon Gilmore was Defensive Player of the Year, I believe, three or 4 years ago. He's going to bring him consistency, but playing that man-to-man coverage and just sending your guys and sending the dogs, losing Diggs, I don't think they can do that consistently. I think they're going to play a lot of zone. I think Mac Jones is going to have a good game. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to pop a couple off. So.
I think Matt Jones is going to see the grass a lot this weekend when Micah Parsons breaks through that offensive line. But sorry, go ahead.
Parsons was a little banged up at the end of last week. He sustained a couple injuries as well. So we'll see.
Cowboys, New England. I think Cowboys are on upset alert, but I don't think they lose this one. I think the Patriots defense is really, really good. But that offense is not where it needs to be to beat a team as good as the Cowboys. I got the Cowboys winning in a close one, but I still got the Cowboys. I do think upset alert is a fair way to put this one. Just need to see a little bit more from the Cowboys this week. Let's jump ahead, guys, to the Sunday night game, Chiefs versus Jets. When they scheduled this one, it was a lot more appealing. David, go ahead and tell us why the Chiefs beat the Jets.
Yeah, I hate saying it because I used to work in Kansas City, and I left Kansas City not so much of a Chiefs fan. But at the end of the day, yeah, you got the better offense, you got the better defense. I don't know if you necessarily had the better defense, but you got the defense that'll win this game. Sorry, that was a little bit off topic there, but I think the Chiefs have the pieces to win. Having Travis Kelce back in your lineup, Patrick Mahomes is clearly the better quarterback over Zach Williams or Zach Wilson. I definitely think Chiefs win this game pretty comfortably. And it becomes a continued question for the Jets. What are you going to do at quarterback?
Yeah. Jordan, Chiefs, Jets.
I have this as an upset game.
Whoa.
I believe New York gets right. I believe everything that the media is bringing on down to Zach Wilson and company, because they still have the talent around them. They still have the talented receivers. They still have the talented tight ends. They still have the better pass rush. And the Chiefs, I mean, they played an inferior opponent last week. And all the I'm not trying to bring it in here, but I think Travis Kelce's personal life is a huge distraction. I think that's going to start to peel over into especially the away games on prime time, and we'll see. But I got the Jets making it right this week.
Interesting. Caleb, what do we got?
Yeah, give me the Chiefs in this one. I just, until they get somebody better under center, I don't see the Jets really. They may stay in games, but I don't think they have the guy behind center to win them football games just yet until he comes out and proves he can take that leap and win football games. I'm just not sold on it. So give me the Chiefs in this one.
Fair. I'm going to go Chiefs also. I just would never in my life trust Zach Wilson to win a game. So as good as the Jets defense is, they're on the field too much. There's too much pressure on them to win, to make big plays, and it costs them in certain situations, in my opinion. So, yeah, Chiefs win this one. Let's move on, guys. Monday night, Seahawks and Giants. I'm going to start, guys. I'm going Seahawks. I think the Giants are better than their record indicates, but it's a slow process for them, in my opinion. That 0-2 start, they win the game, get the comeback against the Cardinals. Things are starting to turn. But I do think the Seahawks run game is really solid. Gino's getting back into last year's mold. Give me the Seahawks to win the game. David, what do we got? Seahawks, Giants.
Yeah, so I'm like you. I lean Seahawks, but the thing that keeps me worried is the Seahawks defense. They're giving up some of the most yardage in the NFL this year. They're definitely down at the bottom of the pack, averaging giving up over 400 yards a game. So I think it could be closer than what we're necessarily expecting. I think the Giants are, after that Cardinals game, they showed a little bit of their ability to hang around with opponents, and they might not be as bad as what we're thinking. So I think it'd be an extremely close game. Yeah. So I'm leaning Seahawks, but it would not surprise me if this thing comes down to a field goal or something like that.
Gotcha. Caleb, Giants, Seahawks, what we got?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this one. I just haven't really seen, Danny Dimes do what he's getting paid to do with that massive extension in the offseason. Not to mention you got the injury with Saquon, really struggling there. That offensive line hasn't looked great. And give me an experienced guy like Gino and DK Metcalf and guys like that to come in here and get the win.
All right, Jordan, finish us off. Did the Giants get a minor upset here?
I don't think the Giants get it done tonight. I think the Giants, I'm going to kind of echo what everybody else is saying. The Giants are better than their record, most certainly, but they don't have enough firepower to win this one. I think the Seahawks are going to come out. I think it's going to be a close game, but at the end of the day, you look at what the Seahawks have for the passing attack, and I just think that's what's going to kind of take over in the fourth quarter. Giants defense is going to spend too much time on the field, and it's going to weigh on them late in the game.
Gotcha. All right, guys. Yeah, that wraps up the predictions for this week. Let's, guys, we're going to do this, our ending segment. We're going to do the final word of the week. David, what are your final thoughts on week 4 before we get out of here?
I'm going to just kind of blanket statement this. There's a lot of good games this week. When I was going through my picks this morning, opened up the Saracen app here in Arkansas and was looking at the games, and I was like, man, this is going to be a tough week to get some picks in. And, if you're trying to ring a parlay or something like that together. But like, there's some interesting ones out there. I'm really entertained by the Raiders and Chargers game that's going to be happening at 3:05 this afternoon. That one's going to be super entertaining. Then you've got an interesting game like we talked about earlier with the Browns and the Bengals. Can the Bengals get right? That's going to be a fascinating football game today. There's a lot of really good ones to keep you entertained throughout the day. And we already got started off with a game in London. The international games have begun. Yeah. So it's an entertaining week of football. And I'm thrilled to spend a lot of Sunday on my couch.
For sure. Caleb, final thought of the week.
Yeah, my final thought's going to be more of a question here. Looking at it, to me, the real question I'm interested to see which rookie has the better day today. The Browns starting DTR or Aiden O'Connell for the Raiders. Which rookie has the better game today and can come out and get their team the win?
I'm going to go DTR because I think he played really well in the preseason. He was really, really good. And I think the Browns have a better support around him. Now, he doesn't have a Devontae Adams, but Amari Cooper is about as solid as they come. We still have the solid offensive line. I wouldn't say the Ravens have an otherworldly pass rush either. I think those kind of help DTR. And Aiden O'Connell, the Chargers defense is not difficult to beat. But at the same time, I've personally seen more from DTR than Aiden O'Connell to make me think that he'll have more success. But guys, Jordan or David, chime in. Let me know what you think there. Go ahead, David.
I was going to let Jordan take this one. I haven't seen DTR play enough football, to be completely honest, to make a fair assessment on where he's going to be at today. And I feel like that's going to be echoed by a lot of people. You got someone brand new coming in for the Browns, so it's going to be That's the one thing when you don't have film on a guy, it could get entertaining real fast to see who he's going to be on the field. So it's definitely interesting.
Jordan, thoughts?
I think DTR is going to get him through it because it's still the Browns' run game. Ford's still solid. Kareem Hunt's still solid. The offensive line, as of now, knock on wood, is still healthy. And I think that gives you enough. And like you kind of chimed in on Amari Cooper's solid hands. Be looking for him busy on third down and shorts, especially, or third down and mids. I think David Njoku, if he didn't get himself hurt too bad over the weekend, has a solid game with some big catches for small yardage. But I looking for him to dink and dive and really lean on that offensive line. But as for I think the Raiders, though, you look at that quarterback situation, and I think that's a mess. It's a heavily relied on pass offense. Josh Jacobs hasn't really got it going, and I think O'Connell's going to have a long day.
Yep, fair. All right, guys. Well, hey, that's our final thoughts for the week. It's been a pleasure being with you guys here on this NFL Sunday morning. This is Sunday morning tailgate from Variety Sports Network. Hit us up, YouTube, Twitter. We're all over the map. Like and subscribe. Those subscribe numbers, guys, keep getting them up. We appreciate everything. I think we're at 411 right now on the main channel. Thank you to everybody who tuned in and watched our first episode. At one point, I think we had 8 people watching. We're at 6 right now. Thank you to each and everybody who followed and watched the show today. And we'll be back next week to kick off another NFL Sunday. David, Caleb, Jordan, thank you guys for being with me today. And we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you, guys.